the Aussie dollar. Okay, used to be one of my favorites, not so much anymore, but still an interesting currency pair. So the Australian economy suffered in the third quarter. It had a rare squeeze, a rare contraction of the Australian, and a recession is defined as 2 consecutive quarters of negative growth, of contraction, of the output shrinking. And this hasn't happened since 1991 in Australia, 25 years of growth, okay? But we did have some slips of 1 quarter at a time. This happened now in the third quarter. It's probably temporary. It will probably not turn into an official recession. But you should watch out for that. Chinese manufacturing, that's on the rise. China in general is moving from, soft landing, fears of a hard landing, to renewed growth, more government stimulus. Manufacturing is on the rise. We had good news from the Chinese PMI. Another factor helping Australia is political stability. We had a succession of prime ministers, many changes there. Now we have Malcolm Turnbull as prime minister, and he was re-elected. So we have lots of political stability there. Stability also comes from the central bank. The RBA, with its new governor, Philip Lowe, is in neutral mode for the time being. They do not intend to cut rates or to raise rates. So lots of stability in Australia, well, apart from that GDP scare in Q3. But in general, that could explain some of the stability also in Aussie dollar against the US dollar. What's going on in the US? Well, high uncertainty, of course, regarding Trump. We'll get more from Trump today, doesn't mean less uncertainty. But the economy is looking good. Non-Trump payrolls, growth prospects, everything looks on the up and up. Fed will likely raise rates twice, not 3 times as they say, but a lot depends on this guy here on the bottom right, Donald Trump. But so lots of uncertainty, but also the US economy is doing well at the moment. Aussie dollar had a relatively boring 2016. It became less predictable in terms of technical trading. It didn't live up to, well, trading in previous years where it liked rising or falling in clear trend lines. It didn't respect that much technical lines of flat lines of resistance or support. Okay, and I hope it will change in 2017. I'm talking today about the Australian dollar. Again, I don't have a clear bias about where it's going. The Australian economy looks good, but also the US looks good at the moment. But I want to talk today about the Aussie because there's a really busy schedule. So on Friday, as we mentioned, there's the Chinese trade balance. Australia cares more about imports, okay? So focus, if Chinese imports are on the rise, that means that this includes imports from Australia or potential for more imports from Australia. Next week on Tuesday, we have the Chinese GDP and industrial output. Now, I know that many don't believe Chinese official data, especially GDP, but it still has an impact on markets. And next Thursday, we have the Australian jobs report released monthly. Previous reports have been quite positive. The RBA, the Reserve Bank of Australia, is on vacation in January, but they're back in February after, not talking to us for 2 months. It should be interesting. What's going on in, let's just to conclude this segment, let's talk about the Aussie dollar chart. Let's look at it in a wider perspective. I hope this chart is clear enough. Anyway, this is the Aussie dollar since here we are throughout 2016. So in 2016, we did see low levels here of 68.50, even 68.30, and we went up all the way to 78.40. But that was at the beginning of the year. Things were more exciting then. And since then, we had narrow ranges. So we had a low here of 71.50, okay, later on, and then a high that didn't reach the previous high. So a narrowing range here. Towards the end of the year, we did have a downfall from these highs of 77 all the way to 71.60. So bigger move of around 600 pips. Since then, we had sort of healthy corrections But the trend, as far as I see it, still remains to the downside. A lot currently depends on Donald Trump. If the dollar does strengthen in Q1, we could see the pair rising a bit more. The pair falling, extending the downtrend. But if we don't have any major news from the United States, I think Aussie dollar could stabilize. It has good fundamentals, and it could move back to the higher end of the range. Okay, so this concludes our special, our currency of the week, the Aussie dollar.